just can't stop at the fucking atom. Howdy, ladies. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. Do you feel like that guy there trying to drive around in the water like that? Oh, man. Oh, if you do, I can relate. Well, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, and while we're loading up here, let me get the 26th pulled up there because we were taking a little peek into the 27th there. All right, there we go. Let me get that music in the background off there. So playing there. All right, there we go. So you can see here we are at July 26th. And while that's loading up, take a minute to thank you all for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. Many of you have figured it out now, and you see how precious this family is, and you know your identity now and who you are in this precious family. Okay? Well, now that we got that out the way, as you can see, we have our weird little CME from last night. There's not much to look at right there. Okay. Something else really faint going on this side over here at the end, right there, whatever that was. Okay, but not much to really look at there. What we really want to look at is tomorrow's, and we're just going to go right to it instead of cheating and going to the solar ham and doing the whole thing. Let's just go right to it because we have a little activity there. Did you see that? Okay, so let me catch the opening frame. Well, frame 11 of 25 already. It still hasn't erupted yet, so we'll just start off there. Okay, you can see right here our stretch from North Pole to South Pole of the sun. It's this whole stretch right here, all right? There looks to be something circular right around there with little moons or little satellites accompanying it. If you look right over here, you can see the little different satellite kind of indentations. Let's go one more frame. Wow. Ooh. I want to zoom in on that right there. We'll darken that a tad. There we go. Okay, you can see we have something circular right in this area right here. You see the backside of it glowing here. You can see this spread is reaching out almost like a hand reaching out to grab a bowling ball or something like that. Three big long fingers reaching out here. And you can see it going over the top, kind of draping over it. So there's our round object in the background. You know what? Let's go right there. Try to get all the wavy lines out of there. And then you can come over here and be the, take a peek at this too. I suggest you do. You can be the judge of this. But something going on right in there. As well as we have that whole spread. So this could be another satellite type object to a bigger one. So let's pull back from this real quick. Let me slide again here. We'll make sure it's coming out on the camera pretty well. All right, yeah. And then let's go cut another frame. All right, so that's our last frame at 6 o'clock there. Go backwards through it. It appears that this is our object right in here, and these rest are like little satellites or moons. And as they splay out, they widen the field of the CME. Here, let me pull this over now. There we go. Now we can kind of see the main object right here, causing this part to reach out and do its little plasma grab type effect. Little satellites here, here. See them all spread out. They probably were rotating around this, and when it hits this magnetic ring around the sun and then kind of deflects off, it probably tears away and separates some of those satellites away from orbiting this main structure right there. It's what appears to be there. Because you can see this dark area now here in the middle. It's still glowing, reaching out to this up here. And these are all fanned out down there. See over here, you see that one right there. You can see another one right there. So they all kind of seem to have fanned out like that because they were probably all wrapped around or closely oriented to this object right here. Right there is probably good. Hopefully that's capturing it. You feel like you weigh 500 pounds? Yeah, I can relate. Imagine trying to run through wet cement up to your waist, and you're trying to run, and your legs just only take one step super slow. You ever had dreams where you're trying to run and you can't run really fast? Yeah, like that. All right, so there's our latest activity right there. You go ahead and put that back into motion there. And let's slow that down. That was something like right there. All right, let that loop play for a second here. Almost look like some triangular object with it too, out in front of it. It is? No. Hang on. And take care of the talking cat. You want to go in or out, Bubba? Oh, okay. There you go. All right, we're back. Okay. So quite the interesting capture we got there. All right, so let's move on. Come on over to the solar ham. Brighten this back up a little bit for our report. Okay, so starting off, as you can see, our solar flux indice is up a little bit. We're back up to 176. We're up 9 points, all right. And then our sunspot camp is up again 10 more points to 181, and our area is increasing as well. Let's go ahead and pop this open real quick. Take a peek at our sunspots because without the political ad now, you guys, shame on you. They're just ruthless. All right, let me zoom on in here. Quite the grouping we've got here. Over here to the right is our 3762 going center disk. It has a very complex structure. Let me get on it. Quick focus in the camera. You can see all the speckled red with the one main blue spot right there. Meanwhile, over here, we get some different configuration starting to form. All these little patches, 3767, 66, 65. See these red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Any one of those could connect. And if this starts to, congeal together, see how these yellow regions are starting to reach in with the green ones? It's starting to create one big complex. Hopefully it doesn't, and hopefully this stays the same too over here. But as you can see, we are definitely, and there's another little new birth right there, something starting to form right there. So this whole region, 3767, see how close those two are right there? Okay, and there's so many configurations. It could go blue to red or blue to red, blue to red, blue to red, blue to red, red to blue, red to blue, blue to red, red, all kinds of different configurations right there. So very tedious little complex that's starting to come into view here. And this one as well, still, whoops, not center disk, but just past center disk, okay? And within the next couple of days, it'll be over here where our IMF hookup is. All right, so that'll change things a little bit. All right, so there's that. Now let's zoom out and back up. Out of that. And moving on. So here's your whoops, no. That's can't click on that. You'll get a political ad, Brian. How dare you click on a science page? You get a political ad. All right, here's your day right here. Boom, 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 boom. And as you can see, we took a peek into tomorrow, and that was the activity right there with our big time event, long duration type thing going on right now. Still currently going on. We saw this. There's something else that's newer that probably hasn't been updated yet. That's we'll catch a little later in tomorrow's show, maybe. Okay, so maybe if we come back towards the end, we could see what that might be. All right, let's zoom on out and get back to the rest of this. Okay, so our 3-day geomagnetic forecast, G1 for the next for tomorrow, okay, and then clear for the next couple of days. X flare potential 10%, 60 on the M flare. Our 2 M flares today, 3.2 and an M4.2. Now down here we had some orange or some yellow going on in here yesterday. Here it is right there on the KP. Now it reached 4.5. Almost a 5. Okay, but that is some energy we absorbed. All right, everything from like 3 on up, from about there on up, is a bunch of energy that we just absorbed down to the core. That's another one right there. It's not yellow, but it's almost. I can show you Nibiru. Who's that? Unicorn Bell, are you new here? Yeah, you are. Well, welcome. Hi, Watch Woman. There you are, sweetie. You captured something on one of your pictures again on one of your videos. We'll go there a little later, okay? If you're still here. Well, we'll still go there anyway. Meanwhile, back to the report. Our beta gamma delta is 3762. It was the tight configuration one, and then 3761. They're both stable, but the other ones that are growing, these are the ones we were looking at that are growing, so we got to watch those carefully. Now, coming into July 27th here, a moderate M4.2 flare was just detected around 3766. Both 66 and 67 showed signs of development during the past 24 hours and will be monitored for additional activity. Elsewhere, a number of minor C flares were detected on Friday around various regions of the disk. No no Earth-directed coronal mass ejections were observed in available coronagraph imagery so far. But you see the location of it? That's coming our way. Anything that we can see that on the camera that's facing the camera is going to be coming our way. We'll get a glancing blow or something. We'll see. Usually, they still, even if it's a flare and you don't see a big CME, it still sends out a shockwave of radiation a little bit. So, the far side event, the X14, a little questionable about that thing still. Let's open up the tracker real quick and see what we're lacking, or if we're lacking tracking. OM. Okay. You guys see what we're seeing here? Taking a shot on the chin, direct to. Even if I pull it over just a little bit with the north-south, come on, really? You can see that it doesn't go all the way south of us or all the way north of us. We still catch a pretty good section of it right there. So here we go. And now what this is going to produce is more energy down in the core level, producing more earthquakes, more volcanoes, and our heat plumes out in the ocean will probably grow and expand, inducing wild weather. We gotta back away from that. Well, that's getting dangerous to look at. I want this one too, if we can have the updated Enlil. Come on, Enlil, you can do it. See, this one still isn't updated. They're showing no impact with Earth right here. I thought maybe if I got smart. All right, well, here we go. Impact right here. And if this came off today, the 27th, impact in 3 days would be the 30th. Okay, so boom. BZ component. We already did that one yesterday. Let's go ahead and move on over to this one real quick. So, geomagnetic storm watch. NOAA forecasters say that the G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible today on July 27th. Okay, we talked about that yesterday. So, going into today now, any kind of enhancement of any weather, any kind of weather going on around the world could see some enhancement from a geomagnetic G1 class geomagnetic storm. All right. When the CME is expected to graze the field. All right, a similar storm on July 25th produced auroras in many northern tier U.S. states, including Washington, Wisconsin, and Maine. So X14 going the other way, M9 right there. Civil orbiter on the far side saw that. We already talked about that last night. Ooh, right over here. With this one in blue, it's kind of hard to see, but if you like squint your eyes and blur your eyes a little bit, you can see the activity a little bit better on the blue one. So, yeah, Planet X News. I remember I miss Scott. He was my competition. He was like my nemesis or something. But fortunately, poor guy, him and Doctor Albers got sick. So, anyways, I still pray for them, and I can show you Nibiru Planet X here pretty soon. So, oh, gardening dreams, cool. All right, let's move on. Start talking to the chat. I love you guys. I need to interact with you guys more. So, I love Dr. Albers too. I used to have conversations with her a little bit on some theories and stuff like that. She's kind of stuck in the science realm and didn't understand that the spiritual realm exists until we discovered some things. All right, here we are over at the Schumann. This crazy blast from yesterday is not our typical activity from pressure down below. This is. Maybe that is too. But that's probably the passage of one of these objects when its magnetic field interacts with ours and disrupts the ionosphere. After we came out of this, though, look, we had good continuity right through there. Little grinding through here, tapers off, goes back to continuity again. But let me refresh and get our newest data. Oh, right here. See, we just had another little grinding event right there as we're speaking, just kind of coming out of it. So, what's going on here? Each time we take energy from the sun, it gets directed to the poles. Have you ever seen the donut-shaped magnetic field, the torus field? It directs everything to the poles. So things hit the sides and it sends it to the north south pole. Those poles direct it to the core. The core heats up, swells, and then the shell around the core, there's another boundary around the core, the outer core, the shell, whatever you want to call it. It heats up and wants to expand as well. But as it tries to expand outward, it can't. There's too much pressure, magma on top, and it's all being held in with a shell called the crust of the earth. So when the shell around the core wants to expand, it can only expand back downward onto the core. And that's what causes the core and the shell to grind on each other. The core is spinning inside that shell. When the boundary between the shell and the core gets really narrow, the boundary between the two gets really, really close, we start to grind. So this tells me right here and right here that we are really close. That boundary is really narrow, and any kind of hiccup out of the sun registers pretty quick. Boom, boom. And it used to be, a couple days until you would see results on this, and then it would be a day, and that would be 12 hours, and then it would be 6 hours, and then it's shortened. The time period has shortened and shortened and shortened, meaning that barrier between the core and the shell that gap has closed. And now it's so tight that any kind of little mouse fart out of the sun makes them grind. And this also affects your moods and stuff too. We all rely on 7.83, and when it fluctuates and other things interfere with it, it interferes with you. Okay, they neglected to produce a 7.83 hertz Schumann frequency on a space flight. The Russians did, and their astronauts went insane without that frequency, and they attacked each other and killed each other. Okay, so without the 7.83, you go insane. And when there's fluctuations in it, it can mess with your moods. All right, as well as it's messing with the planet, of course, but it can mess with your moods too. This is why another reason why we do the spiritual report at the end of the show is because little do you know, you're trying to have a good day, and there's other factors, outside factors that are jumping in and disrupting your day. All right, and you don't know about it. So it's important that we practice the salvaging of a day, because it could be all because of this, and you didn't even know why somebody else was acting weird towards you, and you bit their head off or something. It was because they lost their mind for a minute. There was no Schumann, or it was really intense. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Okay, good. Let's move on. Indication of pressure just built up and we just had a release, okay? Right there, just within the last few hours, okay? Now let's move on. Let's get on over here. Whoa. How about a refresh on that? There we go. Real quick. Actually, the storm has changed now, so we're going to just go right into the sandstorm here. Particulate wind. All right. So coming over here now, as you can see, we have a gap in this plume right here, and there's something starting to form out here. We're getting a tropical depression forming out here because of the gap in the sandstorm. Now, there's still a little in there, and it might produce one, but it could be choked off by either side unless it stays perfectly positioned in the middle, all right? But currently, we still have a lot of sand coming off there, which has quelled the hurricane genesis, the hurricane production in the trop or in this zone right here. Okay. Oh wait, let's just come back around. So we got it going all the way across the Atlantic, going up into the Caribbean, up into America. All right, spreading around, going out into the Pacific as well, crossing halfway across the Pacific. Now going the other way, we have sand going this direction, being picked up by this southern fetch and being thrown at India here. Okay, and some of it's spreading, going up into there. You can see it spreading over into here, get pulled up into China a little bit there as well. Okay. The sand particulates are more material for water to adhere to and make raindrops. So you have just produced, now your air can hold a lot more water. Okay, the sponge called the air can hold a higher percentage of water content now because of all these particulates. And it's quelling the convection needed to produce hurricanes. So that's good for us. Okay, we've only had that one hurricane so far, and it could have been a nasty season, but it's been quelled because of this. There's the gap where we might see one, but then right after that, we see more sand. So, whew, said it twice, man. Just say it twice, Brian. Okay, coming on over to our SO2. Get this zoomed in. Now, you see one side bleeding out here. We got a little flooding down in this region, causing patchiness right there, but there's your country divided. All right, now we're starting to see more little spotted plumage up here in Canada, drifting down into Oregon, Washington, Northern California. Okay, this has been all the normal or the regular activity here, but so far lately, this place has blossomed and started spreading south. Now, what I'm going to do is turn on the fires. We'll do a little fire report now, too. Since we have to do fire reports now, too, you understand why I have to do fire reports now, too? Because the SO2 coming out of the ground is so hot that it causes spontaneous combustion of the surrounding vegetation, and we're seeing fires started from underground. And it's, creeping further south. Look at this whole patch up here in Oregon, central Oregon, right in there. That area, watch out. Meanwhile, we're getting this fire down here. Is being caused by SO2 coming out of the ground right here, right over by Shasta, kind of. Okay, another fire over here, probably from SO2 as well. Now, if it were the fires producing SO2, then how come there's no fire here, no fire there, no fire to see? It's not the fires that are producing the SO2, it's the SO2 emission sites that are causing fires. There's not fires at each one of them, but some of the intense ones or some of the ones that have broken the ground or cleared the surface are starting fires. Okay. And this activity was way up here first. And there's still some way up here. Look. Crickets, huh? Yeah. There was one, or like four of these little purple dots running down the Sierras, and I think it was BP Earthwatch or somebody brought it to attention, and everybody slammed on the brakes. Well, now nobody even pays attention anymore, and we got these things causing fires now. Okay, especially on the West Coast, and especially here in Central Oregon or Eastern Oregon. All you people up here, Marfugel, Adam, guys, you got SO2 emissions causing fires in your state up there. You better pay close attention to this map. Come over here and learn how to use it. Keep monitoring it or something. Or come to my show and we'll keep monitoring it for you. Okay, but as you can see, it causes fires. Lots of fires. And they're having the same problems over here, aren't they? Yep. All right, let's take the fires off. Actually, you know what? We need to do a fire report. Okay, so as we look over here on the East Coast, where we see a lot of these plumes coming out, not so many fires. Okay, that's good news for you guys because these sites can produce fires, and a lot of the SO2 is coming out of the East Coast, but not producing fires. Maybe it's coming out at a different temperature. We're over here on the West Coast, we're starting to see, okay, we're talking from British Columbia across most of Washington State, most of Oregon State, and Northern California here, even stretching down into Southern California, at least these two right here for sure. All right. North of Reading is being evacuated. Doesn't surprise me. Look at this. Where was it? And there we go. The Great Lakes are heating up on the map too, and sometimes they do that because they're landlocked and in the summertime. But we're also seeing SO2 emissions underneath there too, or SO2 emissions as well as those heat plumes. So yeah. All right. Well, we did our fire report. Let me get them off of there and move on with the ocean report. Here we go. Everybody take a deep breath. Here we go. Down conditions. All right. Ooh, this is lightened up in color. Look at that. All of that has lightened up in color. It was all yellow, getting a solid yellow bar right there couple days ago. So that area has lightened up in color. Meanwhile, it is all on right here. This thing has connected up and made one big long yellow bar. We're also seeing another pretty good little connecting plume down here as well. So, ow. Now, we're talking about Great Lakes too. So let's come on over here. Usually I don't like to use this on landlocked water bodies because they heat up faster. They don't have ocean currents circulating through them. So they have a tendency to give a false report. But if you see this up here, this bay should be ice cold, even in the summertime. All right, you see this big, huge heat plume right here. Well, it's going underground and coming up over here. It's actually all this area right there with a little bit of dirt over it. See what I'm saying? And if that whole plume right there, yeah, it could possibly be reaching down like this. See how this is reaching down too? So I mean, it's pretty safe to say, but I don't really want to go there because that could be temperature, because they're landlocked. And there is that factor. So we just kind of leave that alone. You can look at it though and be the judge of it. It is showing hot water, warmer water in those lakes. Okay. So whether it's from summertime or sun heating or from underground, they are heating up them. Cold water, little plume still hanging out over there. All right. Let me just back out real quick. We did all that. Let me do Taiwan really quick here. Look at this round cold patch that has just started right there. Are you kidding? This right next to this, hot water rising, cold water rushing in to replace it. If there is a cold water source right here for this hot water, this could be a vortex setup. Do you see what I'm saying? It's nice to have cold water inundation in the area. Maybe we've seen a release of pressure or something, but that is just too round, too circular. What is? Almost looks like a thrust of cold water came up from lower strata, maybe, or snuck in through there. Meanwhile, there's still a lot of hot water and pressure around this area, fulcrum point, where a lot of energy gets released right there. Okay, that's why I check it. Also down here at Java, it's been doing a good job of relieving energy, and you can see cold water around it as well. Sumatra off the coast, kind of cooling off. They had a big yellow bar starting to grow there, and it's cooling off. Meanwhile, it's kind of transferred more over to this area, and we got this kind of plumage growing down there now. The bottom of the planet has the same kind of situation. We have a lot of volcanic activity up on the surface, on land. Well, the bottom of the ocean floor is the surface of the planet as well. It just has water sitting on top of it. So we're having volcanic activity on the ocean floor. That's what's causing these heat plumes. Now let's add the air. Bingo, the wind. These heat plumes are causing our wind currents to change, and they are in control of our wind currents, our wind patterns, because the hot air, above the warm water. Say this is hot water out there. Well, hot air forms over it. Cold air, cold water, cold air. So it's just like the air temperatures, just in the water. You would see the correlation like this: cold and hot creating a vortex right there. And the conveyor belt type structure where it goes all the way across, comes up. Actually, it's going not even have a top of the conveyor belt anymore. See that? This independent vortex is like pinched off here, stop the whole flow. We got another vortex up here that is like ruined any kind of horizontal structure. It's all being pulled up. So this is constantly changing now with our eruptive sites. And there's your Pacific. Now let's do the Atlantic. I'll let that sit there for a second. Okay. This thing is like spreading out and flattening out and filling out. It used to be more of just a triangle and a point. Now it's connected out here. See this whole area? Oh dear. Yeah. So you can see our conveyor belt structure right here, still kind of, all right, but there's the inside loop, and then the outside loop goes up through the Gulf, through the Caribbean, up through the Gulf. The outside loop goes up through the center part of the country, gets sheared off, and then taken out and goes up and around over this. So we have our inside loop right here and our outside loop. Thankfully, this thing should be covered with like 8 to 10 hurricanes evenly spaced, just going bam, 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 all the way around. But it's not because of the sandstorm. Thankfully, that sandstorm has denied any kind of hurricane genesis or production. Thankfully, we have a sandstorm that cuts our production. They don't have a sandstorm that cuts their production. See what I'm saying? Now, here's that storm that's here in China. Okay, it's the remnants of that typhoon. It's still bringing moisture up and over and into that area. It hit it right on and then kind of has stalled and is now causing this reach over effect. Like when you stand in the shower and it comes up out of the pipe and reaches over and then down onto your head. That's kind of what it's doing. It's coming over and just pouring right down into that region, right into the region. So I think we're on the edge of disaster here, or China is, because the video I showed you is of flooding that's still prior to any of this taking effect. So tomorrow's headlines might be something along those lines of, hey, we're on the verge of seeing disaster there in China. Pray for the people there. Okay, so there's your southern fetch structure going across India, creating a little vortex right there, but coming out of the southern hemisphere, turning and going all the way up. Okay. Oh, look, here's doing the Australia effect again. Comes up from the bottom and then splays out across the whole country. Looks like a flower or something. Pretty cool. All right. There's your heat anomaly report. Good news is that this has diminished in its power and its intensity. This is more of the concentrated area over here now. All right, so there is all of that and a bag of chips. Oh, we see a lot of pressure release along here with SO2, right? And look how all the cold water's there. See? So, yeah, the jet stream's off. The jet stream, watch this. It no longer controls our weather, okay? I'm going to show you something real quick here. You see the wind patterns being controlled. Here, let me even do this. This is your standard surface temperatures. Okay? It correlates perfectly to your temperatures. Does it not? It spookily correlates. All right? So, the jet stream, which used to control your weather, okay, here's your wind patterns. Now, that's at 850. Let's just go right here. Go over to the air now. All right, so we're at 850 right here. There's 7. Actually, that was a little lower. We were at 1,000 there. We were down at 1,000 there. There's your air patterns, 1,000 feet off the ground, 1,000 feet up, right? It's where a lot of your weather is. Then we go 850. 750. We're going up now. That's your lower jet stream. Here's your upper jet stream. There's your upper jet. It usually takes weather out of the northern Pacific and brings it in. It takes cold, moist air from here, warms air from the south, slams it together, and we get intense weather wherever it mashes up, right? Okay, that's your upper jet. Now watch the correlation with the lower jet. We're going to go down to, boom, there's your correlation with your lower jet, okay? So storms should be riding this, coming in and going in, right? But they're not. Got a little guy right there. Is that Alf? Kind of looks like. Anyways, um, you see, we're supposed to be having this well, typical southern flow where we get, cool air out of the northern Pacific, drops down and hits, Southern California. That's your lower jet stream. That's where all the storms should ride. Now, as we go down, let's go, well, these ones really aren't kind of showing it. Well, we'll just go. Right there is a little lower. Then we get to 850. Now we're down to our weather. And instead of coming out of here and going down and in, it's turning, going straight down the coast. It's following the coastline and then turning and going back out. And I live out here in the West Coast, and we haven't had any storms in a long time. We get a little thunderstorm, afternoon thunderstorm when we get monsoonal moisture, but there hasn't been any storms because of that. And here at 850 is basically where everything rides at. And there is one small little peel off, but it's all being controlled by our surface temperature, or by our temperature anomalies here. Oops. See? So our weather is under the influence of the magma protrusions, the magma releases underwater, heating the water patterns. The water patterns are controlling the air patterns, you can see now. So we have changed. Our weather has changed from being controlled by the jet stream. Now it is controlled by the thermal patterns coming off the ocean. Ta-da. There we go. All right, let's get over to our earthquake report. All right, what's going on here? Oh, we didn't even open it. There we go. All right, so let's get started. Our typical deep quake region right here around Fiji. All right. There we go. So, whoops, no deep quake around here. So our next quake is this one over here. It'd be a 5.1 at the surface. So there's 5 energy at the surface being relieved right there. Nothing further down there. Okay, good. Here on the island again, what do we do with 4.92? So we see 5 energy again, close to the surface, a little deeper there. Very quiet through this whole region and up through there. We have this one quake here is a mid-range 4 down at 119. This might be a deeper quake. Yeah, 4.0 down at 466. Finally a quake up here by Kamchatka. We got 4 or 5 volcanoes going off up there, so we haven't seen any quake activity up here in a while. 4.3 down at 52. Okay, that's good. It's relieving energy. Very quiet through that whole area right there. We could see we need a lot more, especially here at Taiwan. That relieves energy. All right, 4.1 down at 119. That's a fulcrum point quake. It's very thick crust right there, though. Oh, what do we have here? 4.7, Sudan. 4.2. Right on either side of the plate boundary right there, equal size magnitude, pretty close. Watch out for more quake activity in that region. That's I would say a diverse quake, but it's on a plate boundary. We just haven't seen one in that region in quite a while. So, why is all of this not being really nice tonight? All right, trying my best here. I just got picky with these wavy lines. So I don't like that for you guys. All right. I would almost say diverse quake, but it's on a plate boundary. We're gonna have to watch that area now too because it's a path of least resistance, a sign of a weak spot right there, especially on a plate boundary like that. That's definitely a place to. We could probably see some more activity out of there. Oh, I'm going to show you stuff that you've never seen before, bud. You're the channel that, well, unlike any other channel on YouTube, that's for sure. Okay, quickly here, 4.5174, 4.3158, magnitude check. We have seen a bump up of magnitude in this region now, up to 4.2. All right, now let's get into the USA. I say close it up. I want to do all magnitude for the USA report. And let's dive on in. Make sure the coast is clear here. Cancel. Good. All right, good. All right. We left off at Kamchatka, no fulcrum point quake, but as we come in here, we see microquake activity at volcanic sites, and we're also seeing along the ridge here 2.8 at 23, 3.6 more microquakes at volcanic islands. Give me 1 second here. That's our biggest quake at a fulcrum, 2.5. What's that one? Okay. So our biggest energy at a fulcrum point is 2.5 right there. Then coming in, let me just close the door right quick. I'm gonna keep everybody up. I'm a late night guy. All right. So 2.5 coming in. We get into here. Nothing in the Puget Sound area today, but a little microquake activity right there on the base of Rainier there. There we go. Now you can see it. All right. So, microquakes there. Here's another volcano. All right, this one right here is Trout Lake, Washington. And then here's Mount St. Helens with a few of them. The biggest being, well, they're microquakes. But they're quakes at volcanic sites, which is an indicator of pressure down below. Now, here we are off the Juan de Fuca. All right, here's the Juan de Fuca, this whole plate. This is inside of it, or not inside, but outside the Juan de Fuca. 2.3. That's almost a diverse quake right there. Almost. It's so close to the plate boundary, though, but it's not our typical activity. Neither is this one right here. We're seeing quake activity in this zone right here because we have all of that pressure that's just right off here. Okay, so instead of instead of going along the crack right here and producing quake activity there, it's actually pushing inland a little bit on the other plate and releasing on that plate. Now we do have a fulcrum point finally, a 2. Nothing really pushed inland. We do have the geysers still doing their activity. Nothing through the Bay Area today. I got to check this though. Typical activity along your boundary. Oh, excuse me. All little microquakes quaking out. Little up here at Stanley. No, that's up at Yellowstone. Still seeing activity up at Yellowstone. Brian, I've just retired from Saddle Plumbing Union. My kids are in the area of Mount Rainier. stick around the show, okay? I can't really tell you right now. You need to continue to watch this a little bit until you learn to trust me a little more, and then you can make your own decision here, okay? But I advise people kind of back away from the coastlines. All right, typical activity we've seen in this region. I want to get into our big five today here in Texas and this quake swarm. Bingo, there's your, it was a 5.4. They're showing 5.1, but the depth is 3.3. This is all really shallow stuff right here at the surface. Man-made perforations are still perforations in the crust. They are weak spots. They are paths of least resistance, right? So we are seeing a new weak spot growing here in Texas. 2.1, and boy, how do we talk about this? Under Texas is a lot of oil. Okay, they're the strata underneath this part of the country along the craton has this patch, this layer of oil, and that's where we get a lot of our, gas and stuff from there. But the thing is they put water down in there and they cause pressure. They do all kinds of different things, right? So it can cause earthquakes. And also, we could be seeing some fires underneath Texas, possibly. Well, yeah, the fracking itself just puts the perforation in the crust, okay? It makes a weak spot. When you inject water down in there and you make a pressure zone, you got to equal it out to what it was before, or else you're going to change things down there, especially when you're using different substance. You take oil out and try to replace it with water, well, it's not going to be the same effect. So you're seeing collapses, you're seeing pressure when it does build. It wants to come up through the easiest path, and here we go. Everybody that's around this area, be on alert. You're going to be having more quake issues here in the future because now you're the new weak spot. Get it? Now, coming up to here, this is Oklahoma, I believe. Yeah, good. Our typical activity. Nothing on New Madrid today, and nothing going up the East Coast. So that was basically it. But here, again, everybody in Texas and over here too, because we're having the same effect over here. It's a little more widespread. 2.0, I want that other magnitude one, please. 2.9. So over here in Menstone, Texas, we're seeing upward of 3 magnitude, some little quake swarming going on there. But for instance, we see they're hitting the sites, right? So if you live out here and you live next to a site, don't be surprised if you get an earthquake, right? It's not going to be too big. I mean, 5 is within range of, relieving pressure without doing damage. So, good. Kind of good to see activity like that if you look at it the right way, okay? We haven't taken a peek at Hawaii. We got to take a peek real quick at the hub of the rim. The Pacific Rim being like a bicycle rim, right in the middle is a hub. And here we're seeing some decent sized quakes. This is not like micro quake activity. These are all 2s. I saw something bigger in there. Where'd it go? 3.2. Yeah, so we're seeing 3s. You see these little pots and these little lava emission sites, right? So we're seeing quake activity right around this area. It's probably plugged up right here and it won't let lava out, so it's shaking and quaking right around it. So if it relieves enough pressure, we won't see a volcano eruption. But the increase in magnitude like that could be an indicator that we're seeing possible for an eruption there. Okay, so there's your quake report. Now what I got to do is I got to clear out a bunch of these sites to open up the volcano report, and we'll do that. And then we'll get into the spiritual report, and our new member here is going to see Nibiru, Planet X, and Nemesis here, as well as, well, what we usually see. Now, test for the wavy lines right there. All right, cool. Get the volcano page going. All right, 34 in erupting, 28 in warning. That's still 62 volcanoes. If I'd have told you 10 years ago we're going to have 62 volcanoes, you would have said, Brian, you are crazy. Well, here we are 10 years later. We have 62 volcanoes going off, and I am still crazy. Crazy about you. Well, look at this. Campi Flegrei having quakes. Magnitude 3 out there, huh? All right, a new swarm of earthquakes at Campi Flegrei has started the caldera volcano today. 6 earthquakes have been detected so far, the largest with the magnitude around 4. Ooh, okay. Campi Flegrei is waking up. They need to release a lot of pressure there at this one at Italy. The eruption at Etna, oh my goodness. I have to take you to a different site and show you the eruption at Etna the other day. Meanwhile, Bismani still going at 15,000. That's pretty good. Sakurajima, 9,000. Ibu, 7,000. Semaru, usually 15. Marapi, again here finally on Sumatra, 18,000 foot blast. Dukono, 8,000 foot. That's a lot of pressure to blow these that high, okay? So Sangay, 23,000. That's a high blast. And Sabancaya at 27. And that was just in the last couple of minutes. All right, that was the 27th. Now let's go into today, which is now yesterday. Funny how time flies at this channel, huh? And let's get into the 26th. Stromboli again, a larger than average explosion occurred a short time ago. Okay, pictures posted on social media now. Ooh. Strombolian activity. Okay, Bismani, 15,000 feet. Ibu, 7,000 feet. Samaru, whoa, come back here, Samaru. Where do you think you're going? Usually 15,000 there. Marapi, 14. White Island is another new member on the club at New Zealand. So we have a site at New Zealand now. Okay. Sangay, 20,000. Sabancaya, 22,000. Nyamira, then don't look at these because these are insane. These lists are crazy, right? And if you look at them, it just desensitizes you into thinking this is normal activity. These are, I repeat, currently erupting. Currently erupting. These ones are eruptive minor activity. Any one of these goes full active anytime we get a wave of pressure in. Fernandina, a lot of these are on the list today. Etna, Erta El Fuego, Home Reef, Ibu, Iwo Jima, Krakatoa, okay? The son of Krakatoa. You got to remember that thing's dangerous. Luatobi, Luatolo, Marapi, Messiah, Merapi, Michael, all the way down, Popocatépetl, Revenador, all of these, all right? 62 volcanoes. That's on the surface. That's above water. 2/3 of the earth is underwater. So take this list and double it. So 62 would be 124. So 124 volcanoes roughly underwater. Add the 62 that are above water. 124 and 162 is 186. A lot of volcanoes going off. Okay. we have activity from the sun that causes that. And like I've been saying for years, watch out, hey, we're having activity. All right, but now it's starting to really show. Now people are starting to go, hey, wait a second, what's going on here? No, I don't want that. Thank you. I want to load that up. All right, now our weather has become volatile. All right, we have more particulates, we have more water content in the air too. So, say your water percentage was 10%, now it's like 50%. Say there's 10% particulate in the air, now it's 70%. So now your odds have increased for precipitation. Our storms hold a lot more water, cause a lot more flash flooding. We're seeing larger hail, more powerful storms. So weather is off the hook due to many variables, as well as the spiritual realm. Okay? So we're going to go about. Oh, good. I like that. So let's go ahead and just start marching forward here. Current conditions, nighttime of the 26th, morning, noon, convection, nighttime of the 27th. All right. Any of that could be enhanced by our G1 storm. Any of that right there that we just saw, starting right about now. There. Convection up in Canada. Watch out up there, you guys. Especially the nighttime convection right there. All right, so going into the 28th, you see this thing curling up out there. Look at that. There's the noontime convection up here, a little splattering down there maybe. Now, nighttime of the 28th. This is when we see cooler air at nighttime and this moist air coming up from the Gulf, hitting this zone up in here, and we get severe weather here in possibly Minnesota and South Dakota, anywhere in that region. Okay, it could be 100 miles one way or the other. And the nighttime of the 28th there. Morning of the 29th, noon, convection nighttime, morning of the 30th, noon, convection nighttime, morning of the 31st, noon, convection nighttime, first, noon, convection nighttime. I'm going to put you to sleep anyways. Let me put this back right there. At the convection of August 1st here, we see some stuff starting to fire up at the afternoon, then getting severe at nighttime. So this little event around August 1st, we'll have to watch out for that. But that's our closest event, really. Convection there, the 2nd, nighttime of the 2nd, morning of the 3rd, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 4th, noon, convection. See that guy down there. Nighttime of the 4th. Look at this thing starting to spin up right here. Right here, the noon of the 4th, convection, nighttime, morning of the 5th, noon of the 5th, you guys, here at New Orleans, you guys. Watch out, Mississippi, Alabama area right there. Convection, really making landfall. Convection, they're calling for a 986 millibar low. We'll see how that goes. 989 right there by the nighttime of the 5th. So August 5th, if you got plans in that area, you might want to changing it all. Consider watching this closely. And also up here, nighttime activity, as well as up here in Canada. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go backward a second. There's convection. So severe weather in there during the afternoon hours, sundown on the 5th, and then going severe at night. Morning of the 6th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 8th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime. And that's so out in the future. But let's go back to this little guy right here. This is might be the little hurricane that forms in the gap between the sandstorms right there. Meanwhile, we're going to see activity come off this way and head across Pacific probably. You see how that drives inland right there? Right up through the state line of Alabama, Mississippi, right up through there. Okay. All right, so there's your weather report, and there's your astrophysics, geophysics, and now let's get to the metaphysics. Your spirit. See, we deal with a lot of disturbing subjects at this channel, and we're not supposed to be shaken by that stuff. We're supposed to understand what's going on so you're not shaken and you're not moved. Well, the best way to not be shaken or moved is to have a good, solid foundation, right? A foundation on which you can build on, a foundation on which you can fall back on, rely on, right? All right, good. Let me get this out of there, get that out of there. And what I'm also do is I'm going to show you Nibiru. And what I want to try to do real quick is show you, or at least kind of let you know how this all started. Okay, now I don't want this to sound like, oh, poor me, oh, feel sorry for me, this, that, or whatever. It just is what it is. I've been afflicted with this thing. Okay. It all started back on September 10th of 2017. September 10th of 2017 is 13 days before the Revelation 12 star alignment. Now, in the Revelation, it says the woman stood with the moon at her feet, the crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and about to give birth, right? It says, then another sign appeared. A great red dragon stood before the woman, stood in front of the woman, ready to devour the child. Here we are at September 10th. And this is when all this started for me. I used to just kind of watch solar weather just because I knew it affected our weather. But I wasn't an avid follower right now. All right, anyways, this is September 10th of 2017, and there was a series of 3 X flares that week, all right? And this being the third of the X flares, the other 2 were much bigger, all right? So the third one, everybody kind of poo-pooed it because it was an X flare, but it wasn't the X10 and the X9.8. It was like an X8.7. So everybody's like, yeah, compared to the other ones, they just kind of poo-pooed it, and so did I, until it popped up on my screen without me initiating it. This image right here was sitting on my screen when I came in my room. I'm like, what is that doing there? And then something else happened. And God showed me Nibiru. Now, I'm not a Nibiru guy, all right? I was a ufologist, all right? I've had that activity follow me since I was a kid. She had plenty of daytime sightings, plenty of pictures, video. So I was more into that realm or whatever. I was not a Nibiru guy. And then God showed me this. He put it up on my computer, and I made me sit here until I saw it. And I'm like, what are we looking at? Keep looking. I'm looking. I don't see anything. Well, our black round core with plasma around it, and we have these wing-shaped, like plasma wings coming off of it right there. And if we, maybe if we do this a little bit, you can see this one on this side a little bit better. It's kind of wrapping around. It's mixing in with this other stuff. If we kind of went like that, now you can see the other wing or whatever you want to call it right there. All right. And he said everybody saw the woman and they missed the dragon. Here's the dragon. All right. And this stood 13 days before the Revelation 12 star alignment. It stood in front of the woman. It stood 13 days in front of the woman. She stood on the 23rd. This stood on the 10th. The dragon stood in front of the woman. And then there's more because there's Nibiru, but behind it is. Oh, this looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a conduit of plasma that is sucking off of our sun, going into this planet. Here's a damage ring or an impact zone on this planet right here. You can see Nibiru sticking out in front of it here. All right, there's Nibiru and Nemesis. Now, this object back here, this bigger one right here, is still at a 45-degree angle type back into the screen. It's not totally perpendicular to the sun. The sun is represented by the white. The size of the sun is the white circle, not the black occulter. That's on the camera. The size of the sun is this white circle. Do you see how much bigger this thing is than our sun? And it's still at a 45-degree angle back there. If it was perpendicular, it'd probably be about that big right there. How many suns could you fit inside that thing? It matches the definition of a black hole. It doesn't reflect light. It can only be seen when silhouetted by light, which is plasma. It sucks plasma off the sun. The plasma splashes it. It hits and splashes over it. It's bending light. It is bending light. You can see light bending. The gravitational force of this thing is so strong it bends and absorbs light. It's a black hole with a stellar core rotating around it. This thing is so powerful, it has stripped this thing. It probably was a star at one time and destroyed it, and now it's just the core of the star that's left over spinning around this big old star-eating machine. Okay? There's the destroyer right there, and it stood on September 10th, 2017. Nibiru and Nemesis, the dragon that comes to devour the child. Okay? And that's when this all started for me, was September 10th. That day, my life turned inside out, upside down, backward, forward, mainly inside out. How do I describe that? Oh. Did you bust in the door like that? Wow. Okay. I'll go on out then, yeah, I guess. Hey. Never seen a cat bust the door like that before. Anyways, this is the day my life changed. Okay, I was a normal guy going about my business. I was a ufologist. I didn't know. I wasn't expecting any of this. I wasn't a Nibiru guy. I seen all these people taking pictures with their cameras and getting lens flares. Oh, I captured Nibiru. I'm like, you got a lens flare, buddy. And they continue to do it to this day. Everybody, oh, I got Nibiru, I got Nibiru. Nope, there it is right there. Captured on Soho, on NASA's own cameras. I don't even think they know what they're looking at. They see this pretty white light CME. They're looking at the CME. Everybody looks at the plasma. They don't see the shapes that are going on in the background. Right? God showed me that. It took a long time, too. It was arduous. I couldn't see this for the longest time. It was too big in my face. When the original image that I had was so big in your face, you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I left it sitting in the little pop-up that it compressed the image, and much like this is way compressed right here, so you can see it. Let me give you an example of what it was like when I had, well, that's not even close. I can't hit my zoom because it was so big. The image that NASA provided was so zoomed in that you couldn't see this. It wasn't until, like I said, I put it on the play line here whoops, down here, and it compressed the image that I was able to see it. It's in a different dimension. It's a bigger picture. Okay, and that thing's eating the sun. You see it ripping plasma off? Okay, there we go. There's your Nibiru nemesis. As foretold in the Bible, stood 13 days before the woman. Everybody missed it. Everybody saw the woman. And what was interesting in the prophecy, it talks about then a second sign appeared, a great red dragon. It makes it sound like the dragon appeared after the star alignment. And that's when everybody was looking, was after the star alignment. They started looking for the dragon. But it said the dragon stood before the woman. That's why everybody missed it. They were looking after, not before it. And here it is. It caused an X flare off the sun, an 8.9. And there were two other ones that were prior to this in this video. See this one stretching here. Let's just see the teardrop effect of this one right here. And then here's the other. Here, this is the X10 one. And see if we can find well, you can see the little dark core area in that one right there. So there was three bigger objects with planetoid with satellites, and that's the same configuration we got today. Three of these bigger ones. The third one being the gnarly one, Nemesis.
This looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off
with Nibiru floating around it. Now, the winged planet, how could a planet have wings? Well, you just saw right there how it could. They're plasma wings. See that? Tilt your head to the right about 10 degrees and you can see a little bit better. So they're actually wings of plasma, and this object back behind it is so massive, has so much gravity, it's still probably pulling material off of this. It's being sucked back towards that. So you're seeing little ionized particles that are being sucked off of this core still back towards this black hole. And when an X flare electrifies those particles, they glow. Then you see the wings. And that's what you're seeing is the glowing particles of plasma that are being ripped off of that, being sucked back towards the much bigger nemesis back behind it. Ta-da! Okay, there we go. Pretty cool stuff. All right, now back to this. Adjustment, that's what. Okay, I'm pulling up a couple things, and since we're here, we can go to this. Okay, ever since then, I have had paranormal activity chase me, haunt me, follow me, watch me, study me, copy me, all kinds of just crazy, crazy stuff, and nobody believes me. And here I've documented it all. I've caught it. I knew people wouldn't believe me if I told them, so I'm like, well, I'm going to show you instead, you know? All right, here we are. I had these faces in the clouds that kept following me. One day I took a picture of the face in the clouds, and it turns out being my face. I'm like, whoa, my face now? And it's kind of looked like a crown on it. And then I look back behind here, and I see, uh-oh, never mind the face. Look where it's coming from right here. This is Jesus's heart. He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. And the rays are coming out, making the cloud with my face on it, okay? And there's a reason why, because of who I am, okay? It's been hard to do this, and it's kind of like Mission Impossible, especially when you're not believed. Parallel thing like last time. Let's pull this down to right there. where I've taken this image and rotated it a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Okay, this is an event happened on Easter. A 2,000-year-old prophecy came true on Easter. Okay, hour-long event. It changed into the little lion. We'll show you that part. Yes, you're my little lion. You are. You're on YouTube now too. You know that, Herbie? Yeah, you are. All right. Sorry. Pretty amazing cat. I want to bring you over to this too, because this shows the gift a little better. The flip book. All right, we're gonna go right here. His face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with the nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compressed them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay? All right, so there's that. There's that one for reading too, and this one. So we're gonna leave it right there for a second. And everybody, take a minute, take a few deep breaths. You know, we've covered a lot. There's been a lot going on in the news. Okay, I know you're still getting sucked into that. And remember, the anxiety level is based on how plugged in you are. You can always unplug from the mainstream media and the news and stuff and go take a walk out in nature and take your mind off of that stuff that creates anxiety. Even my channel, some of the stuff we cover is disturbing and can create anxiety. That's why it's important we do this part, okay? What you are looking at right there is my face, okay? My face is showing up in the clouds. This is my face showing up in the clouds with a crown on Easter. A 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. Okay. I am your ever-present help. Now, many people stumble out of bed in the morning and head straight for the coffee pot. Like me. I do it too. And though they are not yet thinking clearly, they are awake enough to move towards something that will help unscramble their thoughts. So I perform a similar function for you when your mind stumbles in my direction. So ask me to clear out the confusion so you can communicate deeply with me. You have this amazing capacity because I created you in my own image. So as you wait in my presence, I not only unscramble your thoughts, I straighten your path throughout each day. I am sovereign over every aspect of your life. So opening up the way before you is no problem for me. Some people assume they don't have time to begin their day with me. They don't realize how much I can facilitate their activities, removing obstacles and giving insight that save time. When you spend precious moments with me, I compensate you generously. I clarify your thinking and smooth out the circumstances in your life. I am the living one who sees you. Again, the definition of alive and dead. Well, if you're dead, your consciousness is not residing in the skin, in the flesh. But if you're alive, well, your consciousness is residing in the flesh, and I am alive. I am the living one who sees you. I am more fully, gloriously alive than you can imagine. I got this thing where life is very vibrant for me. Okay. It's very intense, both positive and negative, but it's very vibrant. Okay. I live in a gloriously vibrant, alive way, and you can live that way too. Okay. I am more fully, gloriously alive than you can imagine. Like I'm here right now talking to you in the flesh. That's how alive and more than you can imagine. And someday you will see me face to face in all my glory. Well, that day is right now. You are looking at my face in its glory with a crown over it, aren't you? Same here. Whoop, I mean, listen right here. Here's my face again with the crown on it, and here's Jesus right behind it. And now you do see me face to face in all my glory. I turned the camera around last night too, so we don't need to do it though. I'm a shy guy. Well, with the way things are being targeted these days anyway. All right, so now you do see me face to face in all my glory, and you will be awestruck. I think you guys are a little awestruck. You're a little caught up, like a good book or like a good movie. You're like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm awestruck. You're caught up in it. So now you see things. Oh, wait, I don't want that one. Yeah, I got more here for you. Well, now you see things with real eyes, with eyes that see. Okay, a lot of you are looking up and capturing stuff. Watch Woman, she captured something on her channel too. I should pull that up real quick. Do with that one right there. Oh, it's in the thumbnail. I'll have to pick out your thumbnail and take a picture of it and put it on my channel. We're gonna get back to the reading. What was the other stuff I had for you? Okay, right here, it's more. This should be bringing joy to you, even when you see some of the circumstances that are going on around the world and you see a big old earthquake or a big old volcano. You know it's biblical. Most people don't. They get rattled and they get shaken. You understand that it's biblical. Well, everything that's going on right now is. And instead of being shaken, it can give you this kind of sense of joy, which is odd, but it can bring joy. And the joy I give you transcends your circumstances. That's why you can not be rattled by this stuff. And this means that no matter what is happening in your life, it is possible to be joyful in me. Okay. Every day when you begin each day, it's important to start your day with a prayer, just recognition. It sets your day on a good path in the first place. And then when you stumble, you recognize, oh, I need to recover here. We're in the salvage business, so you try to salvage your day and take time, a moment to pray, be with me to calm down, and then you move on, listen for that the inner voice to tell you when and where to go. And then you've recovered your day and you try to take that blessing into somebody else's day and help them recover their day as well. So right now you are in my presence, okay? This part of the show is you are in my presence. I'm here in the flesh right now, walking around as a man, the Word made flesh, walking and dwelling among you, just like last time. In my presence, there is fullness of joy. As you peer into my presence, remembering who I am in all my power and glory, ponder also my eternal commitment to you. Nothing, I repeat, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate you from me. Nothing ever in all creation. Got that? Your relationship with me has been rock solid, secure, ever since you confessed your sinfulness and received my forgiveness. Did you know that? Did you know that the moment that you confessed your sinfulness and received my forgiveness, that's when your relationship was rock solid? That's when. Even when you see this and you know the rock, you know the foundation, that's only part. You want it rock solid. That's confessing your sins and then receiving my forgiveness, which is also the help in salvaging your day. Okay, that's these disciplines that I'm teaching you. That'll keep you rock solid, secure. You are my beloved, in whom I delight. And this is your permanent identity. Do you got me? Do you get me? You put your face in place of this one right here with a crown over it, and that is your identity. If you are here at this channel and you see my face and you hear my voice and you are caught up with me in the clouds here, you're raptured, but the word rapture not in the Bible. A lot of people are going to be disappointed, but not you. You are caught up with me in the clouds, aren't you? This is me in the clouds. This is me in the clouds. This is me in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds, aren't you? So you are on that right path. Everybody else is being shaken. I have an eternal commitment to you. Okay? Even after you die, my commitment is still there. We still keep going and going and going and going into eternity. You're stuck with me. Your relationship with me is now rock solid. Okay? As long as you confess your sins and you receive my forgiveness. When you're doing your salvage work, Lord, this guy, Jesus help me, this guy is really ticking me off, it's gotten me all enraged. Right there, we are rock solid. You are confessing your sinfulness to me. You trust in this relationship that we have. You do. You trust in this relationship that we have. When you're doing that, that automatically, by default, makes you my beloved in whom I delight. And that is your permanent identity. You're not a trash can. You're not a LGBTQ. You're not a this. You're not a that. You are a child of God. And you can find joy even in this broken world now because I have set eternity into your heart. Aha. Eternity into your heart. Look at that. It goes backwards too. If this was your face, eternity would go back right into your heart. Just like it coming out of his, it'd go right back into yours. Eternity going into your heart. Can you imagine that? Can you guys understand how that works? When When you transcend and you finally find joy, even in this broken world, you find joy from the brokenness. You're getting joy from the brokenness. If you can find joy in the brokenness of this world, I have set you free. I have set eternity into your heart. Now, spend time refreshing yourself in my presence. That's what we're doing. You're refreshing yourselves. You're in my presence. It's refreshing. It's nice to know that you're going to be okay. It's nice to know that this is all true. It's nice to know that the teacher stepped out of the class and was doing a little experiment to see who the good kids were. And now the teacher's back and he's peeking through the window. See him peeking through the window right there? See this? That's the teacher peeking through the window, and the rest of the class is all still screwing off. But not you. You can find joy in this broken world. And now you have eternity in your heart. You're refreshing yourself in my presence where you can relax and learn to delight yourself in me above all else. As the love bonds between us grow, as they grow stronger and stronger, so does your desire to help others enjoy this amazing life that you've found in me. So some of you have done that. I know, Kitty, you have too. The love bonds between us have grown, and you desire to share this newfound knowledge with others, huh? You've practiced some of these disciplines and found the relief and the peace in them. You've transcended the broken world and find joy, so you want to be able to share it with others, huh? And so we're building bonds together. You're getting to know me. I know you. These are love bonds between us growing stronger. And so does your desire to help others enjoy this amazing gift that you have found in me. Now, when your love for me overflows into other people's lives, there is abundant joy both in heaven and on earth. And that's fruit, too. Abundant fruit. There is abundant joy. There is abundant fruit. You could put fruit right there, too. Both in heaven and on earth. You're already collecting fruit on earth. Pretty cool, huh? So as you go along this path of life, I will lead you, and I'll bless you with pleasures forevermore. So let my unfailing love be your comfort. Okay? Here to comfort my children, the ones that I love, the ones that love me. Here to comfort, okay? And some of the definitions for comfort is a person or a thing that makes you feel less upset or frightened during a time of trouble. Ooh, are we in a time of trouble? You bet we are. Do you feel less frightened and less upset because of a person like me? If I make you feel less upset or frightened during these times of trouble, well, that's because you let my unfailing love be your comfort. Now, didn't you? Good work. And because you live in such a broken world, trouble is never far away. I mean, it's like one after another. So there are many sources of comfort in the world, yet only one of them is unfailing. All right. So we go through life searching for all these different things to give us comfort. And eventually they all fail. Everything, eventually it all fails except for one. There's only one of them that's unfailing out of those many sources of comfort in the world. And that's my love. My love. Other sources will help some of the time, but my tender presence is with you all of the time. My perfect, inexhaustible love is not just a thing that makes you feel less upset. It's also a person. I'm a person just like you. I can relate, okay? I've been through a lot of things. Name it, I can relate, okay? Um, my perfect, inexhaustible love is not just a thing. It's inexhaustible love is inexhaustible and unconditional. Oh boy, we got inexhaustible, unconditional love that's it's not just a thing. It's actually a person that makes you feel less upset. It's that person's love for you that makes you feel less upset. It's this person's love for you that makes you feel less upset, don't I? Um, Again, nothing in all creation can separate you from me, and I am inseparable from my love. Ooh, so I can never unlove you. I love you. It's inseparable. So, as my cherished follower, viewer, subscriber, liker, as my cherished follower, you can turn to me for comfort at all times. You can't drop a prayer anytime. If that's not working, you could come over here, click on the video, and pull up an image and listen to my voice. That works too to comfort you. But you should be praying. You should be practicing these disciplines that we keep working on. The better you get at those disciplines, pretty soon they just become second nature. They aren't not so hard to practice anymore. And then you're more comfort more of the time. So as a cherished follower, you turn to me for comfort at all times. And since you have this boundless source of blessing, which is me, I want you to be a blessing in the lives of other people. You can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort you have received from me. I want you to do the same thing I'm doing for you. I want you to do that for others. Okay, that's your mission. You can comfort those with the comfort you have received from me. That's how it's done. That's how it's really done. That's how for real comfort. Okay. And some of you have found that, and your desire is to share what you found with others so that they don't experience the pain, agony, sorrow, misery that everybody's just dwelling on right now with the media and the stories that are coming out right now. And they're falling hook, line, and sinker into it. Okay. And it's very easily to get sucked in. It all depends on how much you plug into it. Remember, um, garbage in, garbage out. So if you're listening to a bunch of lies coming from the mainstream media, it's a bunch of garbage, right? That's going to cause a bunch of stress and anxiety. It's all a bunch of stuff that's not true, a bunch of lies and deception, right? So you're getting anxiety over stuff that's not true. When here's something that is true that provides relief from that anxiety. So unplug, take a moment, take some deep breaths, say a couple prayers, know that I'm there listening, and you will experience peace and joy that transcends these dark days, and you won't be shaken. A volcano going off will not surprise you. You have knowledge. The spiritual realm could pop out of the sky at any moment and reveal itself and start growling at you from the clouds, but it wouldn't shake you because you would know what it is and where it's coming from. And I would never do that to you, But other people are going to get rude awakenings. You know, the when you see these things come to pass, look up. Well, you know why it says look up? Because at this time in history, everybody's looking down. They're so glued to their cell phones, they can't even drive. This lady parked in a driveway. She pulled off the main road and pulled into a driveway of a business and stopped and started texting on her phone. And I couldn't get into the driveway. She almost caused an accident because she was too busy texting. But everybody's looking down. They're looking at the screen. They're looking here. They're looking there. But nobody's really looking up. We got some followers in this family that look up though, and they've been capturing stuff on their own, and now they know. When you capture something on your own, then you're gonna go, that guy Brian was. I think he might be who he says he might be there. So it's important that you put a little bit of trust in this. The more trust you put in, the more benefits you get out. Okay? This is not to stroke my ego. This is to help you withstand the tribulation. Okay? You guys are going through tribulation right now. Okay? Is it post-tribulation, pre-tribulation? Do you even know what tribulation means? It means when you're going through troubles in your life. Well, there's no like set time frame for the whole world to go through troubles in their own individual lives, huh? How does that? See, they're not making sense. You're in tribulation. You've been in tribulation your whole life. Okay? The rapture is not the word rapture. It says, when you see these things come to pass, look up. Because when you do, you'll see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. This is me in the clouds with power and great glory. You are fascinated or intrigued with me in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds. We have met in the air of cyberspace. How would you describe cyberspace 2,000 years ago when there was nothing other than air to describe it as? And you would meet the Lord in the air of cyberspace live on YouTube and get caught up with him in the clouds? You guys are already getting tastes of heaven. You're already practicing the disciplines and getting results. Now there's things in the world that used to phase you and knock you down that don't phase you anymore, and you are able to withstand them and move forward, salvage your day, grow a smile again, and then help someone else out. You're doing it. You're actually doing it, and you're feeling that peace. You're feeling that joy at a time when everybody should be losing their minds. Everybody has lost their minds. They never had them in the first place. You've all been deceived your whole lives. I'm the one who's trying to undo all the junk that they did to you. Anyways, you guys are a family. You are my family. If you are here and you see me coming in the clouds and you hear my voice, you are definitely one of mine. That should make you feel pretty good right about now. Whew, huh? Everybody else is sweating bullets going, is the rapture coming? It should be coming any moment now. The rapture should be happening here any day now. Oh, yeah, it's been happening for a while. If you know what to look for, if you've been paying attention. But if you believe Hollywood and all this other mumbo jumbo stuff, well, then you think you're going to turn into a white dot and flow up into the air. Well, when that date never happens, you're going to be disappointed. But not for people who see me coming in the clouds. Victorious. You already have victory. You are sitting in victory at this very moment. Did you know that? As my child, you now have your identity. You are truly a child of the Most High. I love you. I miss you. And until my next show, I will be back. I told you I will be back. What would be a sign of your return? Well, take a look around and then take a look up, and you'll see me coming in the clouds. I love you all. I miss you all. God bless you all. Until my next show, I will be back.